everybody, I'm Ron Cantor and you're watching Out of Zion on GODTV. And we're still in Caesarea. In fact, I'm in a palace right now, but there's no palace here. This is where Herod's palace once stood. Behind me, you can actually see the remains of his swimming pool. Now, what's significant about Herod's palace is that Paul, the apostle, spent 2 years here in jail. We recounted earlier how he testified before several of the governors and even King Agrippa. But I want to talk to you just about the idea of prison. Paul himself, he spent quite a bit of time in prison. In fact, so much so that he has what he calls his prison epistles. Now, I want to turn to Philippians chapter 3, because we find Paul here in prison, and he writes something very, very powerful. Now, I don't know about you, but if I was in prison, I don't know, I might be writing letters to my governor, to my congressman, to my wife. Help! Get me out of here. He's in prison and he's writing letters, and I'm going to eventually find it. Here it is in Philippians 3. And this is what Paul is writing in his letter. Are you ready? Let's look at verse 7. But whatever was to my profit, I now consider loss for the sake of Messiah. What is more, I consider everything a loss compared to the surpassing greatness of knowing Messiah Yeshua, my Lord, for whose sake I have lost all things. I consider them rubbish, that I may gain Messiah and be found in him, not having a righteousness of my own that comes from the law, but that which is through faith in Messiah. The righteousness that comes from God and is by faith. And then the whopper is in verse 10. He's in jail. Did I mention that? I think I mentioned that. He's in jail. And he writes, I want somebody to get me out of here because it's not fair. I didn't do it. That's not what he wrote. He wrote, I want to know Messiah. I mean, he's writing the Bible. We think he knows the Messiah, but this is what is consuming Paul. Even after writing the Bible, being in jail, testifying for the Lord, his primary concern, I want to know Messiah and the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of sharing in his suffering, becoming like him in his death. That is awesome that is what Paul, again, the same Paul who wrote earlier, or writes a little bit later, rejoice in the Lord. And again, I say rejoice. He's not, now you would think that maybe one of these big shot publishers said, you know what, Paul, we've got a great idea. We're seeing a book series. We're going to start with a little small book called Philippians. We're going to put you up in a really nice hotel and we're going to feed you and you're just going to focus and you're going to write your book, and then we're going to do the video series, and then we're going to do the study guide. That's not what's going on here. He's in jail. And his focus is, I want to know God. I want more. And even he's saying, I want to share in the fellowship of his sufferings, becoming like Jesus in his death. I would that we would all suffer with the same grace and humility as Paul. Make sure you go to God.TV so you never miss an episode, and you can always find me at roncantor.com.
Please follow Ron on Twitter and Facebook at Ron S. Cantor to find out more about Ron and his ministry. For more information on GODTV and the Out of Zion programs, or to view these programs again, go to god.tv/Zion.